Hello, my name is Glenn Waston and I'm the VP EMEA at Avocor. I've been involved with digital transformation for about 3 decades, ranging from travel all the way to digital cinema. In the last 15 years, mainly involved with video conferencing, remote work, and workplace transformation. As you can see, also I am working from home under the restriction of COVID-19, as probably many of you. In the last couple of days and weeks, I've been getting questions from family, friends, partners, and customers on what is the optimal setup for your home office or your meeting room. And I want to tackle a couple of those in the next couple of days and weeks. And today I want to talk about camera position. And there's four I will discuss. One is obviously your laptop camera position, your back of the room camera, side of the screen camera, and front of the room camera. Let's start with the most used, the most recognizable, and it's of course this one where you talk into the laptop camera. Some of the benefits are that you obviously have a great audio-visual connection, that you have a great experience seeing the facial expressions of your counterparts. But what you may not know is that you also have the ability of sharing content in a very high quality level. Now, one tip, especially in this Zoom application, is that if you're sharing content, your camera is actually shared at the same time. But if you drag out or increase your self-view screen, you will increase also the ratio on the other side that people can see content and the speaker in a better format. So the second camera position is the one that you will be probably most familiar with. It's the one that looks very similar to an in-room or an in-meeting room experience, an in-room training experience. It's the one where the presenter is at the front of the room with content in the back. And the benefits are that, of course, you have a great view of the body language of the presenter supporting the story. And you also have multiple digital sources of content that can be viewed at the same time. Now, of course, the downside is that because I'm further away of my screen showing more participants, there's a little bit less interaction because I can't see their facial expressions as well. Now, a little bit of tips on the content, because of course there's a big added value having content available on the screen. First of all, of course, you can work with digital content, and you can actually annotate on your screen and your annotations stay in the content. But it's very important to keep your content background dark. You will see if I use white slides, that because of the brightness of the screen, the text in dark is completely washed out or will be blurry. Now, I would recommend using a black background with white, bright yellow, or red, because that really pops out of the screen. But also use a font size of 50 or above, because you can immediately see how the difference is between different sizes. Now, it doesn't only apply to presentations. It doesn't only apply to presentations, but also to whiteboards. So often people will present and will want to write and add some content. But if I use a thin pen in a dark color on a whiteboard, it will be washed out. The benefit again here is you can choose for the darker version. This is a Microsoft whiteboard. And then I would recommend indeed to use a bright yellow or white font color, because that will again pump out and it will be much easier to explain to your audience what you're trying to achieve. And again, all of this will stay digital, and that's a big benefit for you as an audience. Now for the third camera position, I'm going to change my screen positions next to my camera. And this will give me the benefit of showcasing the third camera position. The benefit of this camera position is that I can be close to my screen, to my audience, seeing their facial expressions. I can also take a step back and use my hands to support my story with body language. I can make different points to start the beginning and go to the end. But I can also obviously express myself better. But at the same time, I'm also close to my screen, which allows me not only to have good video and audio, but also the ability to share my screen natively digitally. And you will see, compared to option number 2, that the quality of the content is a lot better, a lot crisper. And just like with content number 2, I can show different types of content. I can go native compared to a flip chart where I only have one type of whiteboarding. Here, I can still use the whiteboarding, but I obviously have also Notes or PowerPoint or Excel at my disposal. Now, 1 or 2 remarks on this use case. Number 1, it is a little bit more difficult to use. You need to be a little bit more of an expert, have a little bit more training, because you're working with 2 cameras, the video camera and the content channel. So you have to be used of either you want to make a point to the audience or the content is most important. So that's kind of something to getting used to, how you would want to tell your story. The second one is, do you put your camera on the right or the left side? Now, because I'm right-handed, I prefer to have my camera on the left, because now my body position is open and inviting to join the story. You will see if with the same camera position, if I try to write my left hand, my body position is turned and closed. So if I would be left-handed, I would recommend putting the camera on the other side. Now, for this number 3, I will leave it as such and move to number 4, for which I bring the camera back on the screen back to the other side. And I will change my camera position to front of room so that I can easily see you guys. Now, one of the benefits of this setup is that I have the content and the camera screen on the same side. And then when I'm talking, when I'm communicating with my audience, I have the best of both worlds. I have great audio and video. I can see the facial expressions. You can see me, my body language, and we still have the content. And the content quality is very similar, if not exactly the same, as in option number 1. Again, you can see now the benefit is I'm presenting to you, but I still have full control of my content. Let me show you some of the screenshots that I've taken in previous sessions, because I think it's important to see that you have different options. In this case, I am choosing my counterpart on the speaker view. Whoever's talking, even if I have a group of 10 people, whoever will be speaking, I will have a focus. And so we will have almost a one-to-one interaction. If somebody else speaks, that will switch around and somebody else will be facing me. The other option is the gallery view in Zoom, where I have almost like a classroom setting. Me, the presenter, being in the front, but I can see all my participants. I can see their facial expressions. They can raise their hand if they want to say something. So it really is a benefit. The downside is that it looks like I'm looking back and forth away from the camera. So what I like to do is put a minimized screen of the Zoom application or Teams application and putting it right in the middle under my camera so that it feels like we're talking to each other and I get still my content and my audience. Or finally, also even smaller, putting it at the top of my screen, minimizing it so that it really looks like I'm facing the audience. And at the same time, I am having more room for my content. Now, as far as that's concerned, let me recap some of the positions. Number 1, the camera setup, which you all are familiar with, or most of you are familiar with, is the camera in the laptop. Obviously, very clear and crisp audio video. I can see the facial expressions of my audience. The downside is that I only have really one piece of content I can show at the same time because of the limitation of my screen, and I'm restricted in body language. So it's really the best use case is if it's only video, if you only want to talk to your colleagues, and if maybe you have one presenter at a time with one piece of content. The second one is the back of room content screen, the back of room camera with the content screen. Benefits obviously is that it's a very recognizable setup, and I can use the full capabilities of body language in my conversation. The downside, as mentioned, I lose the facial expressions, I lose the connectivity with my audience, and also you have to design your content really well because otherwise it will be overlit and it will become blurry. So great for room to room, a more traditional presentation style. It's basically the digital version of an analog presentation format. Number 3, the side camera. Now, a lot of benefits here: audio, video, content, facial expressions, body language. The downside is it takes a little bit of training being able to work with two camera positions, one for video and one for content. But once you master it, it's really a dynamic style and can be interesting for more advanced users. But number 4 is really my preference, and it's really a nice step up, trying to work in a digital space, looking at what the next thing will be in your office, in your room. And so again, all the benefits of step 3, I won't repeat them, but it gives you really this kind of broadcast approach where the presenter can interact with the audience and at the same time look at its content. Now, besides this slide, I will also share this slide for people that are asking it, and you will see there's a good comparison of what the different setups are. Okay. Now, as far as this is concerned, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If there's any questions that you might have, or any requests or a specific use case you want me to tackle in the next couple of days, please put a comment in the section below, whether it's Facebook or whether it's LinkedIn, and I will try to address them either in a vlog or I will reach out to you personally with the specifics. So stay home, stay safe, and enjoy working with your camera position, finding the best solution for your new home office setup. Thank you.